Hello everyone, my name is Greg and I dev stuff. Welcome to episode 43 of Vampire Survivors like game in Unity. So in the last episode we have implemented a pool system for our enemy. Let's add the Pumpkinhead enemy as our managed by pool objects. So create pool object data for the Pumpkinhead. Reference it to the Pumpkinhead data. And now we need to set up our pool setting. Make sure your pool ID is unique. Then reference the original prefab and the container prefab for enemies. This is it. This should be all what you need to do every time when you want to introduce a new pooled object. So every enemy or object which you will be reusing and using en masse, you should set up as being pooled. Our Pumpkinhead are being reused in the pool, but they are parented to the enemy's objects. It's okay, we will come back to this later. This episode is brought to you by generous support of people on Patreon and members on YouTube. If you want to join them, link to my Patreon in the description and join button available right now on YouTube. If you join at $10 or more, you will get access to project files on Patreon. Good. Now we want to make the progression of the campaign matter. We want to make it possible to unlock new stages when the player completes certain levels. We will make a panel where we will be showing all the available stages for the player. So make the panel. Here we will place our buttons to load the level. Now we want to only show the buttons for levels we have unlocked. Select panel. Let's rename it into level select panel. And create another new component called level select panel. Inside this component we will be showing the unlocked stages, so create a new list for stage select buttons. So each button leads to a level, and we want to show them if the level is accessible. Right now, in the game, we have two levels. Let's prefab the level button, so we can replicate buttons for each stage and create two buttons for level on the panel. Add them to the stage select button list. Now when we enable the panel, we want to go through all available buttons and check our data container. if the previous level has been completed. If it is, in this case it means the next level is unlocked and can be played by the player. So cycle through each button on the panel. And show the buttons on the panel if the previous level has been completed. Because we are working with previous level in the list, we need to start the count from 1 instead of 0. Call update buttons on enable. So when the panel is shown, it updates the status of the buttons.
Reference the data container in the editor and let's test this.
And now, if we launch the game, our buttons should be updating its status according to the level completion. So now by changing the completion state of level 1, you will see that your second level button will be showing or hiding. Good. Now let's make simple buttons to close or open the level select panel. So on the panel, make the button. And when you click it, simply disable the panel. And in the menu, make the button, which will open the level panel. We can start the first level, and if we complete this level, we will unlock next one. This is achieved by marking the completion state of the first level on the data container. To test it, let's make first stage super short and be completable in 5 seconds, and test it. Good, as you can see, after completing the stage, we exit back to the menu and our second stage is unlocked. So let's set up our stages. The old gameplay stage 2 is actually outdated. Let's delete it. And create a copy of the gameplay stage 1, which will be used to create gameplay stage 2.
And we will be making a third stage in the future, so let's make a copy and name it gameplay stage 3.
Create stage data for second stage. Set it similarly as to stage 1, so it is easily being testable, so we win the stage in 5 seconds.
reference the stage data on the second stage scene.
And create third stage. Same. 5 seconds, you win. Don't forget to reference the stage data. Now in the menu make third button for third stage. Make sure you have completion states in your data container for each stage you have in the game. We have an issue. Our panel only enables the buttons. Meaning, if you have not disabled buttons in the editor before launching the game, your game will have all those buttons enabled. So if stage completion is true, we will show the button to the player. Otherwise, we will disable it.
Let's enable the very first button in the list, because player will always have an access for the first stage.
Good. So if we complete first stage, it will unlock second stage. But if we complete second stage, it doesn't do anything. This is happening because long time ago, when we introduced a stage completion, we set it up to only mark the first stage as being completed by passing 0 as an ID of the stage which just got completed. We need to identify which stage player right now is playing, and when we complete the stage, we need to pass an ID associated with the stage. So open stage data and create new field called stage ID. Now set them up on your instances of stage data. 0 for first stage, 1 for second stage, etc, etc. Those numbers will be used to reference position on the list of completed stages in data container. Now open Stage Event Manager. We have winStage method here, which is being called when you win the stage. Pass the stage ID as a parameter. With those changes, if you complete second stage, you should unlock the third stage. Because now, after completing second stage, your game will register the completion of the second stage. Same will happen with the third stage. Make sure your scene are added into the build. And it should work just fine. Good. This is it for this episode. Special thank you to the Sold Hashdo. With best regards, see you in the next episode.